Okay, so you find me in Cedar Park, charging up to 100%. I've been playing. So Tom over at the State of Charge YouTube channel said he had a lot of people asking him about, well, you go 70, but was the car really do at 80? Right? I mean, they want to know. So I had on my list a couple of things I would like to do. I was thinking 55. Let's make it easy. Let's make it 60 miles per hour. So I'd like to know what the range is at 60 miles per hour. And I'd like to know what the range is at 80 miles an hour. I know that the range, I've only done the test once, but in this car, I got 240 miles at 70 miles per hour. Okay. Now that day had some wind, so it's 5:57. So it's just before 6 o'clock in the morning here. So the wind should be relatively calm, and with the sun not up yet, it'll be somewhat cooler. Although it's 77 degrees. Don't go crazy. But so if traffic's lighter first thing in the morning, it's better to do a 60 mile per hour first thing in the morning. And then if I still have energy enough, I'll probably try to do an 80 mile per hour one. I think repeating the 70 mile per hour one is going to have to wait for another day. I just don't see me doing that one. But there we are. So once I get up to 100%, I'll unplug and get going. Yeehaw. See, I have about 35 minutes left before I get to 100%. Oh my. Okay. That's life of doing these kind of tests, right? Yeah. Okay, here we are, 100%, 6:30 a.m. Let's hit the road. Okay, here we are at 10%. We're almost to the FM 973 exit. All right, here we are. Exit for 969. There's Giga Texas off in the distance. What's that, a mile away? At 89%, 33 miles. Hour 10. Whoa. Wait, I left at 6:30. Okay, maybe it didn't shut off when I got out of the car. Okay, average energy is 232 watt hours per mile. Sounds like this might be a longer day. Alright, here we are at 80%, just passing exit 466. 54 miles so far. 245 watt hours per mile. Now, earlier was 235 or something, 233, something like that. So, whatever. Lockhart, if I remember right, was 75% when I did the 70 mile per hour challenge with Grandpa. So, yeah. We'll see how it goes, huh? Okay, guys, here we are at 75%. Oh, it's past 478 mile marker. I'm south of Lockhart. Okay, 67 miles and 245 watt hours per mile. But you're not paying enough attention to the steering wheel. Come on, man. All right, so there we are. Mile marker set 479. Man, we're doing pretty good so far. Okay, 70%, just past mile marker 491. 80 miles, 249 watt hours per mile. So I'm using more energy going this way right now. I don't think it's the wind. I think it's just elevation. I don't know, whatever. But we're going along pretty good. You might notice, oh wait, no, it says 85 now. So it's the same problem I had before, where sometimes the 85 sign is 85 and sometimes it's 65. Okay, we're doing good so far. Okay, exit 496, US 90, time to turn around. I'm at 86 miles. 245 watt hours per mile. It is just short of 8 o'clock, so it's been an hour and a half. Is that right? Yes, an hour and a half. All right, onward, upward charge. All right, here we are, still at 50%. There's a Gig of Texas just ahead. Wow. Hope you'll forgive me for including this into the video, but I mean, every time you go by it, it's amazing how big this place is, right? Amazing what all the work is going on here. Incredible. Down to 49% finally. What are all those things there, Joe? Saw a bunch of red and white things. I don't know. I was like, they're a bunch of supercharger posts, except I think they're a bit too small for that. Oh, yeah, say hey, hi, Elon. Hope things are going well today. I didn't even realize that berm was that big. That berm is tall. Dust all over here. People working hard. Making dust, but working hard, making dust. They're all too bad nobody in the state of Texas can provide such things as those right there for electrical grid. Anyway, onward, upward. All right, so we're going by the plan again. I'm at 26%. I'm almost ready to roll over. Just one more percent. Anyway, whatever. So we're at 202 miles. What is it? 3.5 hours driving. 241 watt hours per mile. So what it looks like is when you come, there's a section in here where you get up better than 5 miles per kilowatt. I guess it's slightly downhill. Must be. Anyway, I'm still at 26%. Come on, man. Yes, it's getting old after a while. There it is, 25%. Just north of the plant. Yay. All right, so I'm sweating it out here. We're at 20%. Oh my goodness. I'm almost into Lockhart. And my target is to make 18% and turn around. All right, so 216 miles. And 242 watt hours per mile. So there was a section there where I was doing better than 5 miles per kilowatt, and now I'm up around 260 watt hours per mile. So it's a little less than 4. So it's interesting how the energy usage is varying as I go down this highway. Anyway, onward, upward charge. All right, so I was a little worried there. I might end with a positive percent. That's gone. So 0%, 0 miles. I covered 1.5 miles, 2 miles when I turned around. So, whoa. So anyway, 275 miles, 238 watt hours per mile. Let's see, we use 66 kilowatt hours by this graph right here, but I'm pretty sure when that charges up, it'll take 71. So I don't know. That's some of the funkiness with how this car works, right? Anyway, there you go. I'm amazed it happened. Let's see. 6, 5. So it's 18 minutes short. Yes. So 4 is 4 hours. I'll have to go back and recompute it, right? Anyway, about 4 hours, 12 minutes, something like that. Wow. 275 miles. It's not great. One would have hoped it was better. Although, look at the average watt hours per mile, 238. That's pretty good, considering my lifetime as grandpa anyway is a 270. So yes, and so there were places out there where it would show on the energy graph. It would show we're under 200 watt hours per mile. In some places it was over 250. But whatever, that's pretty good. I was hoping for just a little bit more, but I think 275 actually is pretty good. In theory, I think this car is rated for like 290 or something like that, 299. In theory. So there you go. Let's go with that. I'm glad to have limped up the hill. Actually, I didn't limp up the hill, right? I came up the hill 55 on the frontage road, and for the most part, it was the speed limit there was 60, and I was doing 60. So I just kind of like, yeah, okay. I mean, I know that there's buffer in this car. Certainly there is. So, and I think it's basically the same battery pack, at least to some extent, as is what's in my Model Y. The difference is aerodynamics, really, because this has performance wheels and that kind of stuff on it. Anyway, whatever. Peace and Army. It's all good. Onward, upward charge. Let me make sure I get numbers later, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's let this ramp up. So what I like to do after these runs is to charge it back up to 100%, just see what kind of energy I can put back into it. I'm halfway expecting I should see 71, but especially seeing as I went below 0. But we'll see what happens. They're just saying 40 minutes to get to that point, and it'll cost a pretty penny, yes. Something just over 25 bucks, I guess. Okay, whatever, we'll see. Oh, here, let me put this on percent. 55%. Okay. So sorry, yeah, when I got down to 0%, I put it on, okay, tell me the miles left. And, okay, I have 1 mile left. Okay, and I had like 2-3 miles or so left to drive. Oh man, my heart was sinking at that point. But there you go. To throw a little FSD fun into all this mix. So there was a cement truck merging onto the highway, and so the car moved over a lane to avoid the merge, as they call it. But he does it so quick. It's like, oh, I'm avoiding the merge. Oh, okay. Thanks for warning me. I mean, the cement truck was going just, as it ends up, he was doing a fair amount slower than me, but at the moment it looked like he was going just a little bit slower than me, and so I figured I didn't have to do anything. But FST made sure something was done. And at that moment, traffic was light. So, oh, yes, I saw it. Let me go back. So usually I try to cover what was my route for the day. Okay, so fill up in Cedar Park, come down 1838 to 45, down to Texas 130, and turn right to go south. So south to US 90, loop around, go up to FM 971, and then loop around. And I still had a bunch of energy left according to the BMS. So just I kept going. So I forgot, Doug. No, this is coming back from 971. So coming back from 971, I had like, was it 25 or 30%? I've forgotten exactly. But I had more energy than it would take to make it back to Cedar Park. Okay, so I was going, what do I do? So one of the things that I thought I could do was just head south, and when the difference, the half of the percentage that I had, when it went to half, then that'd give me more or less what I wanted to do. All right, so but I didn't capture it cleanly, so I ended up turning just north of Lockhart, Skull Road, something like that. Anyway, it's just north of Lockhart, and I tried to leave it so there was 1% left in there. Okay, so when I tried to put in the Hutto supercharger, or the HEB it's attached to, the car wanted to stop first in Del Rio, and then next was at the 979 or 969. Sorry, 969 superchargers, just to splash and dash. Well, I don't want to do a splash and dash, so I ignored that. So cancel that trip, ignore it. So pretty obvious, I'm gonna have to come north of 969 before I can put in destination. All right, so it kind of looked like, so I had 5% more or less, and so right when I passed the HEB, I had 3% left. So okay, I'll go 1% more. Well, it turns out it was 2% more. I didn't really plan for that drama. It's just the road I was going to turn around on was actually further out than I expected. It was actually a mile further out than I expected. So 2 extra miles. Whatever. Peace and harmony. It's all good. Was university, I think. Was the university? University Chandler, I think, is where I turned around. I probably should have turned around Limmer Loop, but I'm not sure there was an exit for that one. Whatever, peace and harmony, it's all good. It all worked out just perfect. I mean, other than I'm sweating bullets. You know what? The last time I was at this place was also doing range tests, the same kind of conditions, where I'm coming up the hill with 0% battery. Okay. So 0% battery really doesn't mean you're at 0%. There is some buffer inside in the battery. So you use, just because it says 0 doesn't mean you're stuck. It just means you better have a plan very quickly, because you're about to run out. Now, I'll leave it up to other people to tell you what that is. I don't want to guess. I mean, oh my goodness. Okay, whatever. So that's what the loop ended up being. Other than it surprised me, and I guess it must surprise me last time, is how far we're coming up on the frontage road before we get here. Anyway, whatever. Peace and harmony. Like I said, I actually like this HEB. I think it's a great place. Other than I don't live in this area. But whatever, it's okay. It's all right. So there's that part. So going back, the FSD discussion. Yes, a move over. While I didn't. So you can invoke FSD without having a spot navigated to. And what I'll basically do is do lane keeping, that kind of stuff. Right, just basic stuff. And you can use your turn signal to push the car left, right, depending on what it is you want to do. So that part was, okay, that's pretty good. When I put in the HEB is a destination, that's when navigation started getting like, oh, you need to move into the middle lane, which is actually the middle lane, to avoid slower traffic. Well, I got news for you, dude. I'm doing a 60-mile-per-hour range test today. So I'm going 60 miles per hour on a highway that's 80 to 85 miles an hour, depending on what part you're in. I am the slower traffic. So it doesn't make sense that I should move over into the middle lane if I'm the slower people. Okay, whatever. Peace and harmony. It's just the funkiness. So what you do is when he puts up the turn signal and you cancel it, he pops up a little pop-up, click on minimal lane changes. And that helps cut down on the, well, I felt like getting in that lane today. Okay. No. To be fair, FSD, as part of its algorithms, or whatever you want to call it, it tries to avoid the rightmost lane if it can. Because that's where all slow people are. Yeah, like those crazy people driving around Tesla Model 3s doing 60 mile per hour range tests on an 80 to 85 mile per hour highway. Okay, whatever. You know why I do it on toll road, right? Because there's no stops. You can do consistent drive. I mean, it's not convenient for other people, but I tried to do it on Saturday morning to try to avoid some traffic, which actually, for the most part, I would say worked, but not completely. Whatever, peace and harmony, it's all good. I think for giving you a feeling of what the numbers say, I think I want to see what it is. I want to add it up and compute it. It's I will say my impression is, time-wise, it was 30-40 minutes longer. I'm not sure that's accurate, but that's my feeling. And energy-wise, I was or mileage-wise, I was hoping to get 280. I got 275, but you know, with this car, sometimes it's a little funky in what it does. Now, does that mean it's a bad car? No, it's a perfectly fine car. If you weren't doing this kind of stuff, you wouldn't even know it, right? Well, there was that one time I parked and it was just under 50%. When I came back out, it was 53, 54%. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't happen. But I mean, so there's some things in the battery management system that are just a little odd, but it works. It works just fine, actually. So anyway, let me get that done and we'll get back to you. Oh, and so I better say the other part. So I was thinking in terms of doing an 80 mile per hour range test day, but it's almost noon. I woke up early, so I'm already feeling pretty tired. So not today. If I'm up to it, maybe Monday. We'll have to see. I would like to put 60, 70, and 80 all together to say here's what you're talking about. Anyway, onward upward charge. Well, this is kind of curious, isn't it? All right, so the car tells me it used 66 kilowatt hours on the drive. And the time remaining, 5 minutes remaining, it shows that it's put back in 67 kilowatt hours. So 6766, I mean, that's just a minor difference. Under the charging, the session cost is $23.99. The session entry is 72.710 now. Okay. What's making me wonder is, did I actually use 68 or 66 kilowatt hours, more or less, and I just put back in 68, which would kind of match up with, make those numbers kind of match up. And if I take 275 and divide it by 66, I come out with just over 4 miles per kilowatt, which would make more sense to me. If I really had a 72 or 73 kilowatt hour battery, then I would have used I would have gone less than 4 miles per kilowatt if I'm computing this correctly. So I may be wrong in how big a battery I think this car has. Well, then it says that it's 262 mile range. Oh, curious. More and more curious every time I look at this stuff. Anyway, I don't know. Okay, so let's see if I can pull this 60 mile per hour range test with Grandpa off, or summarize it anyway. So let me start with when I did my 30 mile range test, I got 295 miles. Okay, that took 10 hours, 49 minutes. Now, obviously I didn't do that all in one day, but I mean, wow. And looking back at the numbers I wrote down, what's throwing me off is I wrote down the number 65, as in 65 kilowatt hours used. Okay? For some reason, I've been thinking somewhere that I had 71 kilowatt hours usable. But looking back at what I have, I don't know why I thought that. But I mean, I see where I did it, but anyway, okay. So let's jump up to the 70 mile per hour range test. That covered 240 miles in 3 hours, 38 minutes. The average energy used was 280. And I had written down 71, but going back and looking at my notes, I see that I was having some inconsistency is not the right word, but there was some debate in my mind as to when I was 71 or not. I think I wrote down 71, but I don't know why I wrote down 71. It appears like that was actually 67. I don't know. Okay, so let's come back to today, shall we? So, 60 mile per hour range test, 275 miles. It took 4 hours and 42 minutes. And I got an average energy use of 238. Okay. So, I was hoping to hit 280, but, 275 is still close. And to be fair to the car, well, in some ways, let me blast the car first. But anyway, either way. All right. I'm going down the toll road, and there's all these signs that say it's 85 miles per hour. And for some reason, sometimes the car reads as 85, sometimes it reads it as 65. So, and I'm running on FSD when I'm doing this, right? So it turns out you don't have to have a destination to turn on FSD. So without a destination, you turn on FSD, it acts more as a lane keeper, and you get TAC, right? So you get that. So every time I pass one of these signs, and either it's changing from 65 up to 85, or it changes from 85 down to 65, I got to readjust the speed to hit it on 60 again. Oh my goodness. So every time I accelerate, I'm using energy. So there's some inconsistencies in what happens. But still, 270 miles, I'm pretty happy with. 4 hours and 42 minutes, I'm not quite so happy with. And I get why people say, oh, well, I need to get there sooner, so I need to drive faster. Okay, yeah, I get it. Because that's almost an hour slower than the 70, there's an hour later than the 70 mile per hour range test. And we only gained, what was it, 35 miles? 35 miles. So 35 miles is like half an hour. So it took an hour and only gained 30 minutes of distance. But whatever. But like I've described before, getting 238. Oh yeah, I'm excited about getting 238. Okay, was it blasting up the road? No, but I got 238, which is a pretty good average energy use. Okay, so anyway. But is it worth it? I haven't done the 80 mile per hour. So by the time I finished with the 60 mile per hour range test, man, I was tired. Flat and simple, I was tired. Didn't want to do it anymore. Okay? So I need to come back to this eventually and do an 80 mile per hour range test. But I think definitely it needs to be on a Saturday morning. During the week, there's just too much traffic going up and down 130, especially semi-traffic, or truck traffic. So that's not going to work out. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. And so, and so I got 67 kilowatt hours were put back in. Although if you look down to the lower right, you see that the total energy provided was 71 something. Okay, and that's what they charged me for. But there's a lot of air conditioning and cooling going on. So I think that's what's throwing me off to some extent. I didn't really expect to see that, but there it is. Okay. So anyway, there you go. 275 miles. Would I ever drive like that? No. Oh, did I write down the time to charge? It looks like, is it that? 4, so that's 8. So 52 minutes? I don't remember watching it close. Okay, maybe it was 52 minutes to go from 0 to 100. Oh my goodness. Anyway, there you go. So where I was going was, but who would charge like that? I mean, charging to 100% is not the best thing for your battery. Definitely don't do it consistently. Unless you have one of those LFP cars, then, then maybe that makes sense. But if you don't have an LFP car, don't do it. Right? And I find that I'm usually ready to, once I get under 100 kilowatts, more like 90, I probably have 100, 150 miles of range I can drive. More than that, actually, I think. But anyway, so if you took 275, split it in 2, 280, 60, no, what? 280, so it's 100, 140. Okay, so if I only charge half, I get around 140. That's 60 miles per hour. But even if I go with the 70 mile per hour approach, I still have 120, which will more than likely cover the distance between the two chargers. Okay, but that is the price you're paying the faster you go. That should be obvious, right? The faster you go, the more energy you use, the less likely you are to make it. Okay, whatever. Would I want to drive 60 miles an hour? Not normally, no. I'm happy with 70. Right, but 70 was just 240. Although the day I did that 70 mile per hour range test, I remember that the wind was out of the south and it was not a light breeze. It wasn't strong, but there was a wind there. And I noticed some of that when I did the test. It was like, So, I mean, that may require a redo at some point. Anyway, peace and harmony. That's not what you care about this moment. What you want to know is, well, will I save anything if I slow down 60 miles per hour? Yes, you will. Is it a lot? No, it's not a lot, but it's a fair amount. You know, if you can get 275, actually, you know what? The 30 mile per hour range test was 295. And that's only 20 miles difference. Okay. So maybe dropping no, we're down at 238 watt hours per mile, which is really good efficiency. So yeah, if you slow down to 60, that makes a big difference. Okay. Anyway, there you go. As I usually say at this point, doing this is not something I wish on anybody. Doing a 0 to 100% charge. Oh man. But I will tell you, as soon as I made sure that I was charging, I was happy to go to the bathroom. Yes, definitely. It's almost 5 hours of driving. Who does that? I know. I see y'all raising your hand back there. Oh yes, I do that. Yes, I have a friend who says, "Oh no, we do 500 miles." No, you don't. I've driven with you guys. You don't do 500 miles without some kind of break. Now, maybe if you could drive, you would do that. I don't do that. No way. I mean, you get too tired. You get too sleepy. Anyway, whatever. Peace and harmony. Okay, 60 mile per hour range test in a 2020 Tesla Model 3 Performance with the performance wheels. Total distance 275 miles, 100 to 0% charge. Took 4 hours 42 minutes, and the average energy was 238 watt hours per mile. Pretty decent. Yay.